parents, just wanted to pop in here and do another little demo to show you, to visually show you how the head and the pelvis are connected and how more movement in the pelvis can influence more head control, better head control. So one position that can be quite challenging for a lot of our kids who don't have head control is being on the tummy. And I wanted to show you how when you have the lack of freedom in the pelvis, how that can influence head control while on the tummy. So I have my little skeleton here. And again, just a reminder that this beautiful pelvis structure is rounded like a ball. So there's the possibility that that this pelvis can move in 3 dimensions, that can roll in 3 dimensions. And what is the pelvis connected to? The pelvis is connected to the spine. So whatever movement the pelvis can do will influence the movement of the spine, which is attached to, well, sorry, this little half skeleton is actually missing his head. So I'll put my head here. So when you roll, if the pelvis can move, the spine moves, and then the head moves. Okay, so it's all this, we are connected. We're a dynamic system that is connected. So what happens is a lot of our kids have very limited movement in the pelvis. And what happens if they get stuck, if they have a habitual pattern of getting stuck in their pelvis, often they are lacking in head control. So I just wanted to demo this, which is something really common that we see, and I wanted maybe you guys to feel it as well. So I really encourage you guys to get down on the floor and feel this as well. The difference of what happens when you have little movement in your pelvis versus when you have more freedom in your pelvis, what that can do for your head while on the tummy. So I'm going to put him, I'm actually going to roll my half skeleton here on to his tummy, so he's facing the floor here with his little half head, and then I'm going to get down on the floor as well. And what sometimes happens is some of our kids have very limited movement of the pelvis, and their pelvises are actually rolled downwards. So their pelvis is rolled, so the tailbone is kind of tucked underneath their legs. You might not be able to see my tailbone very well, but I'm rolling my pelvis downwards, so my tailbone is sliding down more towards my legs, and this is a pretty common position for a lot of our kids. And if you get down on the floor and do this too, feel what happens to your head. So I'm curling my pelvis downwards, I'm rolling my pelvis downwards, and what happens is my head actually squishes into the floor. And I can't really lift, well, I can kind of lift my head, but just through my neck muscles here. And now I'm going to demonstrate, and you guys can get down and feel this too, what happens when I roll my pelvis upwards. Actually, all of a sudden, my head pops up. I have more freedom in how I move my head. So just simply by rolling my pelvis, tucking my tailbone under, I have limited movement in my head in this position on my tummy, and by rolling my pelvis forward, all of a sudden I have quite a bit more movement in my head. I'm able to see higher, I'm able to see the horizon, which is a huge milestone for a lot of our kids. So if you get down on the floor and feel that, you can actually feel your face squishing into the floor as you roll your pelvis down, and your head rising up as you roll your pelvis up. So what's happening is, we'll take a look at this little half skeleton. So when I tucked my tailbone under, I'm thinking of the pelvis like a giant ball. So it's a big ball that's rolling backwards. Well, guess what's attached to it? The spine is attached to it. So this whole spine is coming along for the ride, and it's pulling the head as well. And you can see the spine is like arching in this position here, and you kind of, the head gets stuck down below there. Now, if you have freedom of movement in your pelvis and you can roll your pelvis forward and the tailbone comes up, rolling the pelvis forward and the tailbone comes up, all of a sudden you have more movement in the head up here. Your head can actually lift off the ground. So if your child, or if you're looking for more movement in head control with your child, one of the best places to start is exploring the movement of the pelvis. So I will drop all the links down below underneath the video for if you are interested in exploring some of the movements of the pelvis. Now, if your child does struggle in this position on their tummy, the safest position for you to explore the movement of the pelvis is actually not in a lying down position. It's actually lying on their backs where their brain feels the safest. A safe brain is a learning brain, and that's what we're looking for with our kids, is to create learning opportunities where their brains feel the safest so they can actually have their learning brains turned on. And you can find out more about that in the link down below. Okay, so if you're interested in exploring movements with your child, I'll put that down. So hopefully that helps you get a more visual of how the freedom of the pelvis can influence the movement of the head in that tummy time position. Okay, so hope that's helpful, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.